Hey, lacrosse friends, welcome to the Baggataway Cup. We're recording an interview here before the game so you guys can get a little chat and hear a bit from Kevin Kaplis, the Western Division Commissioner, and Brandon McLean, the Eastern Division Commissioner, or Assistant Commissioner in each case. And first of all, Kevin, I just want to make sure you're not rubbing it in too much to Brandon that both the teams in the championship are from the West Division.
Some years it just turns out that way. The strength is all on, or more on one side than on the other. Personally, I'd prefer it if we had like an East-West final. I just kind of like it that way. But you look at Brock; they were undefeated all year. Western had an incredibly good run as well. McGill or Bishops probably would have been the best hope from the East in my mind. And well, we saw what happened to McGill yesterday. And unfortunately, with the host bye situation that we work with, I mean, Trent played a spectacular game against Bishops last week, and it is what it is. It's just kind of how it turned out this year.
Well, that was much more diplomatic than we were out in the hallway beforehand when you were trashing the East pretty heavily. But, McGill Bishops, obviously a chance. I thought Trent, played a great game against Guelph for the most part, but really had a few lapses that hurt them. McGill just had a weak first half, but a great second half. But it's quite a tournament here. We've had 3 excellent close games this weekend in a pretty spectacular facility.
Yeah, I agree. The stadium's awesome. The weather today will be a little bit of a challenge, I think, for the teams. But all weekend we've had great weather, and been 3 of the games were really tight.
So this is the 33rd Baggataway Cup, and it's very interesting that Brock has won 18 times, but not since 2009. Pat Gregoire, my color commentator, was mentioning yesterday, Brandon Slade, a senior, is the last player on Brock to have played with guys who won a Baggataway Cup for the Brock Badgers. Who wants to jump in and talk about how odd it is that Brock hasn't won in quite a while and what it would mean to them if they were able to pull one out today?
I think they'd be extremely happy if they pulled one out today. I don't feel like it's odd. I'm kind of, in my own way, trying to be as impartial as possible. I'm kind of happy that it's been a while since Brock has won. When the league was young and we only had a few teams, like Brock, Guelph, Toronto, Western, I'm forgetting a couple. But when we had the smaller pool and we were sort of building the league together, it's all fine and good to have somebody that's as strong as Brock. But I love the fact that the last number of years, you don't really know from one season to the next who's going to be here on Sunday and who's going to walk away carrying the trophy. Western was thrilled last year when they pulled it off for the first time. And Pat's more a statistician than I am.
2001.
Okay, so since 2001, since Western hosted, I know Jeremy was darn near in tears when he picked that trophy up last year. So I'm sure he's jonesing to defend now and to beat Brock.
Manny Najjar was pretty stoked last year as well. We talked to him after the game, and I think. McMaster was the other team I think you were looking for that won a tournament back a while ago. And I guess I was thinking more of just that Brock had won so often, and then it's been a while, even though they've had very good teams. We have a 1 seed and a 2 seed, obviously, from the West this year. Guelph almost got through after in 13 and 14 being a 3 seed and winning the championship both of those years. They have something going. They almost got through here.
Yeah, I thought Guelph looked really nice. Lacrosse, only one team's going to be happy at the end of the weekend, so unfortunately Guelph didn't make it, but they looked really strong all weekend.
Yeah, really tough break for the Guelph Griffins when their goaltender Hayden Walsh, who was sensational for them, got injured, had to come out of the game, went back in for a bit, and then had to come out for good. And it's a tough situation to put your backup goalie in, but they were very good. But Brock, full value for winning that game to move through.
Definitely.
And any other thoughts about this? I think it's very cool. We've had some great locations. Last year we're at Brock on their new field. The year before that we were up in Bishops in Lennoxville. A great facility, a great tournament they ran. We've been at McGill, their wonderful Molson Stadium. I'm hoping that this I think is a spectacular stadium. I think it's been a great tournament. I'm really hoping because Trent's going to be getting a new field for the 2019 Women's U19 Worlds. I'm hoping they're going to have a chance to host a Baggataway soon so we get to enjoy another new field.
Well, we kind of leave it up. We sort of leave it up to the clubs to figure out who it is that's going to sort of pitch and host. We try to go east-west. We try to alternate from one year to the next. I'm a U of T grad, so personally I'd like to see it end up at Varsity Stadium at some point. We've done McMaster as well, right after they built Ron Joyce, and that was a spectacular facility. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to say which one I prefer. I like the bowl situation you have here, which you don't get at McMaster, which you wouldn't get at Varsity. But yeah, I mean, it could be anybody. Honestly, we've got a bunch of great facilities now. We've used TD Stadium at Western before as well. It's anywhere would be good.
We also were at the Oshawa Civic Fields a few years ago for a neutral site tournament, which was pretty fun. Saw Guelph win that one. So today, as you're seeing, Brock and Western battling for Baggataway Cup, Kufla supremacy. Thanks to Kevin Kaplis and Brandon McLean. I'm Stephen Stamp. We'll get you back to the action shortly. Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome to the 2017 Baggataway Cup. It's Championship Sunday. I'm Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire. We are pleased to be bringing you this Studio Q presentation of the championship game between the Brock Badgers, wearing their red with the blue trim and the white helmets, going left to right on your screen, and the Western Mustangs in the white with the purple, going right to left. And this should be a great matchup, Patty.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute doozy. Two teams that were powerhouses and have been powerhouses of Kuflo lacrosse for a long time. But it's actually the first time the two teams have met since 1999, which I thought was pretty surprising considering, Brock has 18 Baggataway Cups, looking for number 19, and Western looking for number 5. So two teams that have, relatively the most Baggataway Cups, and actually, it's Western's third straight appearance in the Baggataway Cup. So two teams, obviously, that know each other well, but don't really necessarily have too much history at the big stage playing themselves.
Yeah, Western 2 years ago played McGill in the finals up in Lennoxville at Bishop's University, and McGill finished off an undefeated season to take that one. And then last year, of course, Western beating Trent in a terrific game for them. We're going to be going to the national anthem shortly, but in the meantime, we're looking at what to expect. These teams played twice during the regular season. Both games won by Brock, as they're undefeated coming into this game. One by 1 goal and one by 4 goals. So there's not a ton to separate these teams.
No, there isn't. They both play fairly similar. Strong defenses. I think if you had to give an upper hand to one team on the defensive front, you'd give the Badgers I think it's pretty unanimous that everyone across the league agrees that Brock has probably the strongest D-core. And in net, though, I think you got to give the advantage to Manny Dejar. He's been great all season long. Last year, he really rose to the occasion in the finals. I think you give him the advantage there. But in the offensive department, I think they're both pretty much right there. Yeah. They have a couple of superstars in Cody Ward for Western and Brandon Slade for Brock, but after that, they have so many other weapons, and they're so deep, and they like to score off transition as well. So I think, although the defenses are really strong, I could see this being a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, for Western, we've seen, Moriyama and Crowley and Keegan Crowley. Oh, we are going to have the anthem in just a moment, but Crowley and Moriyama for Western will run it. Bale and Latrell Harris, obviously Kirchmeier will all get the ball up the field for Brock. The offense, Brandon Slade's so deadly, both creating and finishing, and of course Cody Ward. We talked yesterday. Oh, we're going to have the starting lineups.
Number 4, Keegan Crowley. Number 13, Charlie Dunn.
So they're introducing the starting lineups. Keegan Crowley, number 4. Charlie Dunn for Western, number 12. Or number 13. Both of those are all Canadians. Peter Hunt on D. Austin Haber, who's been brilliant. Wearing number 23. Very impressed with him yesterday. And, it's again a very deep lineup for Western.
Yeah, they're deep everywhere. That's the thing. They have a lot of guys on the defensive front. We didn't even mention, like you said, Austin Haber, short stick defenders. They're very strong in that department, but those short stick defenders have chipped in offensively. And speaking on Austin Haber, he has 3 points this weekend.
3 goals.
Yeah, 3 goals. Yeah. I think he's got an assist, so 4 points this weekend, which is very impressive for a guy that started his Kufla career off as a strict defensive midfielder.
Yeah. And now we move over to the Brock Badgers, and it's interesting. We talked about the defense, and really the back three is Parker Bale, who is a 2-time Kufla Defender of the Year. Wasn't an All-Canadian this year, as an honorable mention, because Josh Harris and Latrell Harris were ahead of him. Adam Kirchmeier is as good as any of them. He's an LSM, and I was talking to Tim Louie, and he said, it's funny that Latrell Harris was voted as a close D All-Canadian because he plays LSM mostly. Yeah. But, that's so much, such a strong group back there.
Yeah, and Connor McGee's another guy as well on that defensive front that's so good. He's one of those guys that you don't really notice his play, but as a stay-at-home defender, that's a good thing.
We're going to stand for the national anthem. We'll be right back with the championship game. one thing to keep in mind when you have two teams playing in a championship, you don't get here without tremendous coaching. Just want to give you the coaches for both teams. For the Brock Badgers, undefeated, 13-0 with their win yesterday in the semis over Guelph, a tenacious Guelph team. Head coach Tim Louie taking over this year, his first year as the head coach of the program. He'd been with them. The assistant coaches Jordan Sharon, Matt Atwood, Justin Pitchell, Mitch Hannigan, and Nico Baudouin. And I'm pretty sure just about all those guys played at Brock as well. The Badgers are very proud. They love their tradition. They love this university and this program. For Western, head coach Jeremy Talevy is assisted by Dan Strickland, Chris Standish, Colin Holbrow, and Scott Watson. And both great staffs and very, if you just watch them during timeouts, before games, everything, you can see how involved all of the coaches are. It's not like, Jeremy Talevy and Tim Louie obviously both run the show, but they let everyone get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you show me a good coach, they'll usually surround themselves with good assistant coaches as well. And it speaks to Brock, and I know Western as well, but more so Brock, that they bring back players who played for the program and that have that sense of pride. Because if you did play for the team, you do have a little more pride and more passion. And we saw it yesterday. You want to talk about passion. The coaches were jumping around on the sideline almost as much as the players would.
Sometimes more.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get pretty fired up. And we are ready to go. Connor Smith against Jackson Rakosi. Rakosi for Western, Smith for Brock. Both of Brock's face-off guys a little banged up yesterday as they bounced around a bit. And as we saw, 8 times yesterday, Adam Kirchmeier comes up with the ground ball off the opening face-off. Great strip by Keegan Crowley, though. And Tristan Simeone racing down the field. Western will set up with the first possession, and Austin Haber is going to slow things down a little. They're waiting for one more guy, Reed Reinhold, coming out, and one final change as Nick Ferris will join them, just stepping over center now. Oh, they got one more to do, so they're going to go yellow for a little bit. Ball comes to Jackson Hulbert on the near side. Interesting to see how this goes. We've seen a lot of close games, 3 very close games this weekend, and some real swings, like stretches where there have been 4 or 5 goals right off the hop in the first few minutes of a half. Other times, as we see here, maybe a little more feeling out. Reinhold watched by Parker Bale. These teams know each other well, though. They did play twice this year. Oh, there's a great save to open the game by Josh Wood. That was a perfect first shot as an opportunity, but Wood with the kick save.
Yeah, that's an absolute beauty by Josh Wood. He struggled a little bit yesterday in that game against Guelph. And one big thing heading into this game was one of my question marks was, is he going to be able to come up with some of those big saves, the saves that you do need in a championship? And he answered the bell right there, right off the hop.
He's got that great defense in front of him, so they do limit the shots that he faces. That pass is thrown away by Bale. Wondering if the wind was a factor. It is whipping from right to left on your screen. And it'll be very hard in this first quarter for Brock to make any long passes for the clear. That one was a fairly short pass, but the wind is really blowing hard. Side to side, it shouldn't be too bad. Short passes will be okay, but into the wind especially, it's going to be tricky to really control where that ball is going.
We saw these two teams yesterday both initiate a lot of offense from midfield. Generally and historically, these two teams usually use their attackmen for most of their offense, but with such strong defenses, you sometimes have to attack the midfield position. I think that's what teams are going to do today.
Yeah, we even saw Brock put Brandon Slade back in a midfield position for a while, and he plays almost solely attack, but we've talked about how good a defender he is as well, playing that primarily in box. And there's a shot. We saw that yesterday. Cole Davis just rips one, and he got a couple goals very similar yesterday.
Yeah, this is near identical to one of the ones we saw yesterday. Mike Byrne feeds it up top, and you see Davis just comes in right down the alley, shoots it on the run, and places it out perfectly, running the one way, shoots it the other way.
So Western gets off to the early start. One thing we saw, in the game yesterday, I went back and checked in the Brock-Guelph game. There were 10 ties in that game in a 12-11 final. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more of the same. Now, Western McGill became very close, although it was 10-4 at the half, and then McGill stormed back, but just couldn't quite come all the way back. Don't imagine we'll see anybody get ahead by 6 goals, in particular because, I mean, Western and McGill have faced each other in semis. They've never met and in finals. I mean, they have played, but you just don't play as much against teams from the other conference. And these guys see each other at least twice a year, and they get to watch each other's games against other teams. Slade has it, 83 points this season. What an incredible season. Tries a little lever pass, but it was hit, and Keegan Crowley coming up the field. He almost had a beauty goal setting up Patrick Moriyama the other day, and we were hoping for the pole-to-pole goal. We're neutral up here, but anytime there's a pole-to-pole opportunity, we're cheering for the goal.
One thing yesterday, speaking with some of the officials after the game, and we were just talking about, how good of a matchup this would be, and just talking about the coaching and how closely coached it will be. And I can't remember which one it was, but one said it's pretty difficult to beat Jeremy Talevi 3 times in one season.
That's true. That's true. He can adjust. He can
exactly
change the packages they're going to bring. And he'll make some major changes, switching from man to zone D. There's a shot right there by Hulbert. That one goes a little high and wide, though. But Cody Ward is back there to make sure they retain possession. On offense, you'll see huge changes in what Western will do. Right now, they've got Nick Ferris up high. Watched by Chris Wire. Didn't see a lot of Wire so far this weekend, actually. Yesterday. And another goal for Western. The patience pays off, and then the quick strike.
See this here, just a nice dip. Little dump pass. It's just one of those dummy dodges from the top and feeds over to Reed Reinhold. And we've seen him this weekend so many times just catch and release. The ball's barely in his stick, but he doesn't need much time to rip one of those great shots that he does have.
Well, and the thing with Reinhold there, he looked like a mirror image of Cody Ward scoring about 3 goals yesterday. At least a couple of them where he just gets it down a few feet, a couple of steps above goal line extended, and then just catch, and it's gone. Extended battle here, and eventually, it looked like Masterson had it. It's Austin Haber who just kind of dumps the ball over towards open space where it is snagged by the Badgers. Adam McKinnon came up with it. Now Josh Harris is going to make a pass ahead. And eventually Connor Smith will get it all the way up into the offensive zone. Connor Brown going for a run. We've seen him bull his way through players, but he couldn't get all the way on that one. Nice defense by a pair of Western players.
I understand Connor Brown loves the physical contact, but he's got to recognize, when to do it. And you see a slide coming there, you can't continue to just push into the other man. Got to create separation, and if the opportunity is not there, just pull it out and get it to another man. There's no need to rush it to the net right now.
Yeah, there's lots of time, and there's, you just didn't have support. So even if you, and another goal, the long pole goal happens. What a great play by Charlie Dunn, the All-Canadian.
See right here, Charlie Dunn looks like he's in trouble, but uses that athleticism to split the D and comes on in. And that one actually goes right off Harris Josh Wood and in. An unfortunate bounce for him, but like I've mentioned before, long pole, it's so difficult for goaltenders to see where the shot's coming because they do have that long stick.
And the amazing thing, because that's a beautiful goal, and it's probably the second best long pole goal we've seen this weekend after Tanner Baldwin yesterday. I was talking to one of the officials, or it might have been a coach this morning, was saying, other than Tyson Bell, I didn't think I'd ever see a long pole who could actually dangle and then score. It was unbelievable what Baldwin did yesterday. But that's a pretty nice one there by Charlie Dunn. And a 3-0. We talked about how, I was saying I didn't think there'd be any big spreads, but Western is up 3-0. This is the kind of start they had against McGill yesterday.
Yeah, they're a quick start team, and they take their opportunities when they see them, and that's what Charlie Dunn did there. I mean, all it was just a safe clear. Dunn kind of gets into a little bit of trouble and then recognizes he can get free and saw a wide open lane to the net, and he took it.
And the nice finish. Tim Louie takes a timeout to try and settle his Brock club down. The rain has come. It was expected. There wasn't too much earlier, but it's definitely raining now, and that can make it a little tricky. Now, the one thing, it'll affect the wind, and the rain can affect Brock, as we talked about in the long clears. It can also affect Western when they're trying to clear with the wind behind them. Plus, the way the wind is being driven, the rain is being driven, if you're looking back into that rain for a pass that's up at all, that's high, the rain's coming right into your eyes. It just makes it difficult. Keegan Crowley again with the loose ball. What a game he had yesterday. And Michael Moriyama just tells him to slow down, go back a bit.
Flags down on the plate too. Crowley drawing a slashing penalty there.
Well, he's just almost impossible to get the ball away from. Sometimes you go a little overboard. That one skips away a little bit. So it's a 1-minute slashing call. Connor Smith was actually already off the field as he had subbed out during the delay, so he was kneeling in the penalty box, penalty area, ready for play to be blown in. And Western is going to try to extend their lead, and they have a minute to do it. If they score quickly, I would expect to see them take a timeout, try and save some of that man-up time. They're working pretty quickly around. There's a shot. Big save by Wood after Jackson Hulbert let it rip from his offside. If you're primarily a box person tuning in here, here's a chance for Slade coming down. Oh, he spins, switches hands, and scores shorthanded. What a goal by Slade. We talked yesterday about how elusive he is, and he shows it here.
Right before that replay, you saw Slade pick up the ball from an errant pass, decides to go to the cage, rolls away, and then uses his athleticism and his speed. And how about that? Canadian switching hands, scoring a righty ripper right by Manny Najjar.
Yeah, you don't see that much, and you don't see it in box a whole lot.
No.
That's what I was going to say. If you're used to in box guys staying on their side, you'll see a lot less of it. Guys will move around, go to the offside. It's actually not that bad with the big nets and the different angles to shoot on your, to box folks, your offside, that you wouldn't do a whole lot. You don't stick to having the righties over here on the left side of the field and the lefties over there on the right. Tom Masterson thought about letting it go. Reed Reinhold does. Good decision for Reinhold. And that is trying to see if that's a power play goal or if the penalty had expired. Either way, 4-1 for Western.
Yeah, the penalty just expired as the man was finally released. But Reinhold, you'll see he'll get the pass back up here. And just too much time and space for Reinhold. Defensive midfielder there for Brock. Has to get out and challenge.
Yeah, Mackenzie Mitchell, number 33, was
got to get out.
Yeah, Thomas Masterson said a little bit of a pick.
Got to fight
him,
for the pick.
Yeah, he didn't. He just seemed content to stay there. And you can't let Reed Reinhold take that. I mean, that's where he scored the first goal from within probably a step or so. Ball is stripped. The stick snaps right in half. That was Tristan Simeone having his stick break. And he's going to get a 1-minute slashing call, which when you break your stick on somebody becomes a little easy for the refs to call. They're going to stop play for a moment here. Just stop the clock with 9:30 to go so they can get that broken stick off the field. And I'd imagine they'll put that head on another shaft for him unless he has another gamer that he's comfortable with ready to go. But they have a minute to make that adjustment. It is running time, 4 20-minute quarters, except for the final 3 minutes of the game. And we will have the score up on the scoreboard in the stadium is the official game time. The time up on that clock. Oftentimes the official time is down on a stopwatch or a device being held, and the official comes out on the field with 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Not here. That pass to Brown doesn't connect. Crowley tries to pick it up. He gets it on the second attempt. Long pass. He's got the tailwind with him. And Ward gets it on the third, fourth chance. No, he doesn't. Josh Harris gets a chance and gets it back and tosses it ahead. Alex Pace gives it off. And Curtis Woodland, who scored the empty net goal last night to seal things for Brock. There's Rehannick, Tyrus Rehannick. Into Brown in the middle. That slips away from him, and Manny Najjar has it. You can see how attentive they are to Connor Brown. They saw what he could do yesterday in the game against Guelph, where he just, a couple of times, just basically used his size and strength to force a player to get off of him, just create a bit of room to get a shot off.
Didn't love the decision there by Rehannick, forcing that into Brown. Brown had his back towards the net. It just seems right now some of these Badgers are really just trying to force a play right now, being down 3 goals. But you can't play with panic. You have to be calm, cool, and collected. Having seen the one-handed goal that Connor Brown scored yesterday, I don't hate it if he can get it through, but there's just so much congestion for that pass. That's the real issue, right? Like, I mean, if you get it to him, he's got his back to the net, he can probably do something, but, boy, there were, at least 3 people between them. Cole Davis. He might shoot from up there if he gets a chance. He's hit from the 30-yard line, which is 15 yards. That's 45 feet out. For those among the viewers who aren't familiar with the Imperial system, it's about 13 and a half meters, 14 meters. A meter's similar to a yard, kids. Western being patient. Brock really staying tight to their men. The only one now, a couple of the Brock defenders slip back down, but again, they're out. You can see how high Aaron Walker was already when Cole Davis caught that pass out at the 30-yard line. Now, Davis going by Walker. Wood just got a bit of that. Boy, Walker was right out with him, and Davis still just ran into open space. The Brock midi defenders especially are just not having much luck containing Western at this point. No, I mean, it is a tall task, but they're going to have to do something because these midfielders are having their way right now with the defensive midfielders.
And if the midfielders can't handle the attack, then you're having to slide your other guys up. And once you have Bale and Harris and, you know, if Latrell Harris is back there, he's up high. If they start coming up, then all of a sudden you're leaving Cody Ward open, and that's just big trouble. Little run from the wing by Jordan Gillis. He's going to toss it back up top to Cree Blakely. 2 goals yesterday, doubling his regular season input. He had just the 1 goal in the regular season. But he was very good. He was so involved. I mean, we looked at his numbers and thought, okay, he's probably not that involved in the offense with just a goal and 2 assists, but he has been central to a lot of it and certainly meriting consideration for the all-tournament team that will be selected later in the day. Here he is going for a dodge. Takes a couple of hard whacks on the arm. Slade gets underneath his man. Passes up top. Oh, what a chance. But just missing was Grayson Houghton. Beautiful opportunity. Got to finish those.
Yeah, absolutely. Smart play by Slade. He probably could have taken that shot. The angle wasn't the best, but we've seen him score from there. Yeah. But what a beautiful pass.
Yeah. That's why he has 55 assists this year. But as you mentioned, he can shoot too. He's got 28 goals for an 83-goal season. Again, 83 goals. Absolutely astonishing. Dallas Clancy on Slade. He's going to come out to Brown right in the high slot, and a couple of defenders all over him. I believe Peter Hunt actually blocked that one. Then great defensive effort by Mackenzie Wilkinson to knock over Cree Blakely. Well, not that great.
No.
He got a checking from behind penalty.
Yeah.
It's good hustle, just a little overzealous once he arrived.
Once again, Connor Brown is in that stack. See if they
solo
try to
stack.
feed him there.
Yeah. Slade goes behind that on the far side instead.
Another flag down.
Coming, yeah. They couldn't feed that pass through, but that's okay. They're not going to mind that at all. So Austin, oh no, it's Michael Moriyama going to the penalty area. So Brock with a huge edge. And a goal. Brandon Slade with the turf drag celly. And that is just what he does.
Slade recognizing the power play really not getting much opportunity. So what does he do? He's like, beautiful spin move and off the pipe and in. You could hear the ping from here. You might have even been able to hear it all the way in St. Catharines. But beautiful play by Slade. But like I was saying, sometimes when things aren't really going well for your team, you need those big-time players just to take over. And I'm starting to feel like Brandon Slade's going to have himself one big afternoon here today.
He has so many, and when you look at big-time players, yeah, he got 83 points, and a lot of them, did come against the lower-seeded teams. Western gets the ball. Here's a chance and a shot and a goal on the bouncer. What a response by Michael Byrne. Has been a face-off man much of his career, but he steps into the ball team instead this time, and he makes it count.
Yeah, Mike Byrne is one of those heart and soul players. He does so much all over the field. He can play D-mid. He can run some offensive reps. You can put him on the wing to get the ball. He can take face-offs. And that is a huge energy goal to reply after that Slade marker and to extend this lead to 3 goals.
I was starting to say that Brandon Slade, obviously some of those points, a fair number would come across against the lower-seeded teams in the division. But he scores his share for sure against the Westerns and the Guelphs of the world.
And that's
great ride pressure by Brock.
That's what teams game planning him as well.
Yeah. Everyone knows he's their top guy. And look at the effort he's making here to come up with that ground ball and get knocked down. Oh, no, they're going to actually call a loose ball push on Connor Brown. And Slade is not prepared to put the ball down. Now he will. And Charlie Dunn will take it. And that's a shame for Brandon Slade with that kind of effort that Connor Brown made the mistake of giving the big push in the back and turning the ball over.
Yeah, Connor Brown having not the best of starts right now. A couple of drop balls, couple of missed chances, and then a mental error there. Speaking of mental errors, Western goes offside.
Yeah, that's just a big mistake. Oh, and that is going to be a penalty for sure. And that's Reed Reinhold, who's a very smart player, but makes a bit of a mistake. But I think he thought he could get away with that as he rolled the ball. Is it Reinhold or is it?
Reinhold hadn't sat down.
Oh, sorry, 16. I think it was on the goalie. Did they say? I thought I heard them say on the goaltender. Whoever had the ball rolled it off to the side. Oh, actually, Manny Najjar is coming over. He's going to serve the penalty.
And that's the thing with field lacrosse. If you do take a personal foul,
yeah,
the goaltender has to serve the penalty. So
the backup will go in. And we're just trying to figure it out. Oh, that's Zach Grace coming into the game. This is number 44. The 41, the backup goalie. So he comes in. So this is huge. Chance for Brock. Again, we saw yesterday when Hayden Walsh was injured for Guelph. Dennis Semenovich had to come in, and it is so hard to step into a game cold. You're not prepared at all. Brock's going to rip it right away. The miss from the outside by Connor Ham, who scored the eventual winning goal yesterday. And the thing it'll be interesting to see how they score. So Najjar is going to be able to head back in, but what a shot there by Ham. His second opportunity, he makes the most of it. Interesting to see how they...
Connor Ham with his 5th goal of these playoffs. Pure goal scorer, 21 goals on the year this year. The Badgers use him more as a secondary option, and we saw him yesterday, with the 2 goals. The one was he booted it in with his foot, but we saw him score a very similar goal there, but it was off the fast break. He's a transfer from Hartford, a former Division I athlete. Came to Brock as a transfer, and he's been a great piece for the Badgers, and I think he has a couple more years of eligibility left.
Extended face-off battle that Rakosi wins. Speaking of transfers, he came over from Queens where he'd been a long-time stud face-off guy. Oh, what an open chance. Haber sets up Masterson after the precision draw win by Jackson Rakosi.
Haber getting involved in the offense again. A great pass. Parker Bale just misses that. And Wood trying his best to make the save, but that one just goes off his stick and in. This Western team, I mean, anytime it feels like Brock's building it, any sort of momentum, they throw a dagger right back at him.
Especially with the goal in the final seconds. I mean, it was less than 30 seconds to play. The Brock scored their goal. Or, well, a little over 30. But, I mean, there was, 10 seconds to go when that face-off was actually whistled in?
Yeah.
So for Western to go and get that goal is huge to restore their 3-goal lead. Brock's going to need to sustain some momentum if they're going to get back into it. I mean, there's 60 minutes to go. It's a 3-goal deficit. They've got tons of time and certainly the ability to do it, but the longer it goes, the more confidence Western seems to get as well.
Yeah, that's just their kind of, that's their mode. That's the way that things work. But let's be quite honest. I don't know if we've seen Brock play as poor as a quarter pretty much all season long. Didn't seem like they had much energy on offense. It looked like they were forcing a lot. And on defense, it seemed like there was next to no communication. So positive for this Badgers team. I don't know if they can play much worse for going forward, and they're only down 3 goals.
That's true. I mean, a lot of things fall apart. Even on that last goal, I mean, there's not much to say. Josh Harris, for instance, what's he going to do? He had to keep an eye on the player up higher. He can't just abandon him completely. As it was actually, I'm trying to think who it was up top. I think it was Cody Ward that he was up on. So you can't just let Cody Ward go. He's far too dangerous. But that meant Tom Masterson was wide open down below. And, I mean, Harris tried to get down to him a little bit late. And you might think, he should have left earlier and gone over to Masterson. Had he done that, he would have had to leave a good half second earlier, which is quite a bit. And probably Haber just turns and levers the pass back to Ward, who probably is going to put it in too. The breakdown came earlier than the final seconds, I guess, of the players, what I'm trying to say. Rakosi and Brown back at the face-off dot. Western in the white with purple trim, going left to right now. Brock in their reds going right to left. Haber with the face-off pickup. And Western once again in control. And again, a long pole up the field. Their long pole is absolutely not afraid to get up and get involved. In this case, John Kitt, who we don't really see run up very often. It is more Moriyama and Crowley that will go up. Great defensive play by Latrell Harris, the freshman. Kirchmeier, the LSM, gets it back to the goaltender, Wood. And then Latrell Harris makes the pass ahead. Pretty clinical clear until that last pass is thrown away, but great effort by Ribka to pick it up and save the day for them. Nick Ribka. Ribka and Brandon Slade, both Oakville Titans. Thought I'd get that out before Josh Briscoe had to remind me. A lot of guys, very accomplished box players here. And there are some players who are missing National Lacrosse League training camps right now, including Brandon Slade and Latrell Harris from Brock, who should be at Toronto Rock camp today, along with Reed Reinhold from the Western Mustangs. But they were all given permission to come and be part of this tournament. They were all at practices on Friday and then drove down Friday night. I was interviewing Reed Reinhold last night and asked him if they all came together. He said, no, we came outside. They came together, and I came separate. He said, it would have made sense. We all should have come together. Ribka gets turned aside, lobs it over to the near side. There's Ham.
This is the
Slade
matchup
gives
that
it
they
to
want.
Davis Neal. Crowley with the slide double team, and Najjar picks off that pass.
That's the smarts, the high lacrosse IQ of Manny Najjar, recognizing he still has to hug his post, but he goes out and picks off that pass. Great play by Najjar, the All-Canadian.
And he likes getting involved in the clear. The wind's still whipping, so we're not going to see a lot, like we said, of long passes, I wouldn't think. You got all day to clear the ball if you want, and Brock not pressuring. Now Crowley's going to go ahead, and the nice little lob pass. Crowley sees some space. He'll shoot if he gets a chance. Yeah, he lets it rip. Oh, off the post. Not sure if Wood got a piece of it, but I thought it dinged the iron. Western will get it back, and Crowley comes off. Crowley likes a nice long pole goal as much as we do.
Oh, yeah.
He was very upset. Well, we were joking, but he was pretty upset with Michael Moriyama for not burying the pass he gave him in the game the other day. Nice strip by Parker Bale. You talked about how the defense is the heart of this Brock team, and they're really going to need to step things up and limit the chances Western can get so the Brock offense has a chance to come back. Great positioning with his body there by Davis Neal. That creates a wide open chance and a finish by Connor Ham. And again, the play that really made the difference there comes way earlier than the finish.
Yeah, and it all starts with Parker Bale with that strip, moving up the ball. This is actually a broken play. It's a bad pass, but Harris stays with it and finds Ham, who's in all alone. Beautiful dangle around the crease. Talked about big-time players. Maybe Connor Ham, he's turning into one, the pride of Newmarket, Ontario.
And again, so many factors come into it. Again, the strip by Bale, the pass ahead that gets away, but Harris continuing to run, not stopping, and of course Davis Neal with the great positioning to let Harris just run past. And here comes Western trying to respond. That one's bounced high, but Masterson gets the rebound. And Jackson Rakosi does the plank for a moment while he was on the ground. That's interesting. Needs a little core work during the game. And here's Harris again. This time he's not going to carry. He just lobs it ahead.
Looks like the Badgers defense is playing with a lot more confidence. They didn't look like themselves at all in that first quarter. All it really took was them to make a couple of defensive stops and get back involved in moving the ball up the field. That's another thing. I mean, they're great at keeping the ball out of their net, but they have so many athletes back there that love to push the ball up, and we've seen twice now with two very successful clears. One that led to a goal.
Yeah. Grayson Houghton with it, throws it down low to Slade. Little slip pick by Jordan Gillis. He's trying to get to the net. Reed Reinhold with the Rusty Gate check. Loses his stick. Sorry, that was Nick Ferris with the Rusty Gate. The stick just flipped out of his hand. That's the danger of that check. It can be an effective check, but Crowley couldn't quite come up with it. Now he knocks it head to himself. He's going to go for a run. He's being hunted down by Creed Blakely. And we'll turn it back out and slow things down. Smart decision. Regardless of the score, especially if you're up by a couple goals, but regardless of the score, unless there's an open lane, just pull it back out and let the O set up. Ferris from Alberta. Came to Western for school. Wound up playing for the Orangeville Northmen. There's a shot near side. Wood just gets it. Ferris actually had Wood coming off his post and went back near side, but Wood managed to stay in the way and then comes up with the ball. Gets it out to a running Jordan Gillis. Masterson pressing him. They'll go back to Bale. Nice and calm. Gets it ahead to Gillis. As I mentioned yesterday, for anyone who's hearing the name Jordan Gillis and thinking he should be at Colorado Mammoth Camp, it's a different Jordan Gillis. This one's Gillis, not ES, as is the Colorado transition player. Brock setting the offense up.
Slade back up top here, so I think he's going to try to initiate some offense from the far wing.
Yeah, no Connor Brown right now, so Davis Neal, number 9, is in the stack position. He's watched by Peter Hunt. Hunt slides back down to him as Slade comes across the top. Takes a whack there from Michael Burns. Spins, shoots righty. Saved by Najjar. Ball on the ground, big hit. That's okay if you're wondering if you can hit a guy like that. You can hit a player. Great save by Slade to keep it in bounds. What an athletic effort. But you have a 9-foot circumference of a circle that you can hit someone as long as it's from the front or side and not getting them in the back.
What a hustle play by Slade.
Oh.
Talk about all his offensive talents, but he brings so much to the field besides just putting the ball in the net or setting anything up. It's quite remarkable how hard he works away from the ball.
Yeah, and you think, 83 points, 28 goals. Maybe he's just going to be a one-dimensional guy. Not in the
even
least.
close.
He does everything. I was talking to Tim Louie yesterday, for anyone who didn't hear me say yesterday during the game, and he said, yeah, sometimes Slade will go back, wind up getting drawn back on defense, and opponents will be like, attack on D, go after him. And Tim Louie just thinks, he's probably our best short stick defender.
Yeah, we saw him get caught back there a couple times, and he actually looked really strong.
Now he comes all the way to the net. Great job, though, by Charlie Dunn to get on his stick and limit the opportunity. Najjar will pick it up, and Slade is lurking. Nice pass ahead by Najjar. May have been beaten down by the wind a bit, but Peter Hunt's able to run onto it. Still 6-4 for Western. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. This is the Baggataway Cup on Studio Q, live on the Kufla Facebook page. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you're enjoying the game. We've had some great lacrosse this weekend. Masterson takes it behind the net. Started to run out. Changes direction. Changes again. Western in no hurry on this possession to work their way in. They're just going to be patient, work it around. When the chance is there, you know they're going to go. Ferris gets in, shoots. Stopped by Wood, or it may have even been blocked by Connor McGee. McGee pitchforks his man to the ground, and there comes the flag.
It was actually Parker Bale who...
Parker Bale. I mean, you want to play aggressive. You don't mind the odd penalty here and there, but when you're standing right in front of the ref and you just flip a guy up in the air, that's maybe the downside of being as strong as Parker Bale is. Great block by McGee. Ball scooped up by Mackenzie Mitchell. Pass doesn't connect. Oh, what a job by Slade, though, to tie up Charlie Dunn. Still, though, Peter Hunt comes up with it. Well, that's almost an unwinnable battle for a short stick attack against the long pole defender as the ball's coming up to center and you can't go over, and Slade almost got it.
Yeah.
Penalty's over. So Bale is back on the field. Actually, Bale's not on the field. He is over on the bench for the moment. Western up by 2. Brock definitely more competitive this quarter. And they have the only goal of the second quarter as we are past the midway point of quarter number 2.
Yeah, the defense definitely has settled things down much tighter. Their slides are way more on point, and actually they're not even needing to slide too often because they're playing so well one-on-one.
Ferris coming out from behind. Covered nicely by Walker. Aaron Walker, number 89. And there's Latrell Harris coming out to stay with Reed Reinhold. The Toronto Rock teammates. This is Hulbert to Reinhold. Oh, just past the near side of the post. He had some space as he got clear of Harris. Reinhold I interviewed him last night for a Professional Lacrosse Players Association piece that'll be coming out in a few weeks, and he asked him about going up against your teammates. He said, in field there's some casual times you can sit there and chat with Latrell or somebody who's out there. There's a shot that almost gets through. That was Ferris bouncing one. Wood got just enough of it. Western gets the ball back and never made it out of bounds, but they get possession. Hulbert with the shot. Wood saw that one all the way. Lobs it ahead. Gets it to Latrell Harris. He's going for a run. Couple of long poles up as McGee gives it back to Harris. McGee will head back, and they're going to get Blakely out on the field. He'll take the pass while they make a couple more substitutions, and the full offensive unit is coming out. Jordan Gillis going for a trot on the far side of the field.
They're going to bring Reinhold down GLE and try to attack from behind the cage.
Oh, and it pops loose, and again, and Reinhold is going to get it. Maybe not the best guy to attack. What a play. Gets it to Crowley. He'll run with it. Gets the ball out away from any trail check attempts. Peter Hunt stayed back carefully to let Crowley go. He actually could have run with him if he'd wanted to, but Western's going to slow it down anyway. Reinhold getting a lot of props from his teammates. One of the other things he said his first priority is Toronto Rock. He would be at camp if they told him to, but he just hated the idea of playing all season with his teammates here and then not being with them for the championship. Masterson behind the net, watched by Bale. Lob pass out high. Cole Davis. Watched there by Kirchmeier. Gets loose, shoots. That one's stopped by Wood. Masterson there right away to grab it before Bale can get onto it. And Western setting up again. What a contrast. After 9 goals in the first 20 minutes, we've had 1 in the 14 minutes of this quarter.
Yeah, goaltending and defense has been at a premium in this second after a little bit of a shaky start for the Badgers.
Behind the back pass. High risk, high reward. Doesn't work out. This time it's the risk that comes to the fore as Wood intercepts that. And Josh Wood doesn't get the props of the other goalies, but he's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Manny Najjar's a great goalie. But Wood's playing well today. He's made a few big saves.
Struggled in the first quarter, made a couple of nice saves, but I think here in the second quarter he's been much, much better.
Yeah, he hasn't given up a goal. Ribka, watched by Wilkinson. 5 Brock players up in a tight formation high. The pass to the cutter doesn't quite connect with Neal. It's interesting, we haven't seen Connor Brown for a while. As Western gets up the field. Trying to see, and he is on the bench, but he's well down amid the, like in the middle of the pack. He's not even over in the change in the substitution area, so not sure if.
He didn't really have the strongest of first quarters. I think Brock was looking to change something up. I don't think he's going to be there for the rest of the game.
No.
But they definitely needed to try something different.
Yeah, give Davis Neal a chance. And right now it's Neal's opposite number 9, Nick Ferris with the ball. He's got the short stick on him. Drives to the net, shoots, bounces it wide.
Nice slide there by McGee. He didn't quite get there, but he forced Ferris to take that odd angle shot that goes wide. Sometimes slides, that's how they work. They get the other player thinking about their next move.
Hard pass across is snatched out of midair by Parker Bale. He's going for a run, protecting the stick well. Great effort coming back. The spin by Bale, shoots and misses wide, but wow, that would have been a beauty after the 360, especially after fending off Cole Davis the length of the field.
Now Parker Bale, the 2-time All-Canadian Defender of the Year, showing his offensive talents there. I talked about it yesterday. When he plays box, he likes to move the ball up the floor. When he played for the Newmarket Saints Junior B team, he ran their power play. So he's not just a defender. He does have some good skill, and he's another player. Didn't have his best first quarter, but in the second he has been very good.
1-0 in the second quarter for Brock to pull within 6-4. The defense is doing it. Now the offense has to chip in. They've got the 1 goal this quarter. Taking their time to set up as we near the 3-minute mark in the half. Blakely, across to Ham. Behind the back, great finish. Jordan Gillis grabs the rebound and dunks it home. The offense does their part.
They certainly do, and this one's all just, you see the opportunity comes here. First shot's great, but it's a beautiful block by Mariama, but what a finish there behind the back by Jordan Gillis. 5 goals on the season, 2 goals here in the postseason. We're seeing a lot of these young Brock players come out big because, like I said, earlier in other broadcasts, sometimes, players, they get keyed on and it allows other players to take an opportunity make the most of their opportunity, I should say.
And Jordan Gillis, the freshman out of Stony Creek near Hamilton, just outside of Hamilton. And, boy, that's a big goal for him. He only played a couple of he played 12 games, scored 5 goals this year.
Yeah.
But that is a big one for him.
Yeah. Good awareness on him to, crash the net there and grab that rebound.
We've talked about it. The veterans, the stars are very important in the Baggataway Cup. There's always some young players or some unlikely heroes that emerge. And that's just a huge play by Davis. We've seen, Mitch Ogilvie, the freshman for Brock, who was brilliant. Tanner Baldwin. There's a great strip. Mackenzie Mitchell, one of several players on this team who played for the Orangeville Northman Junior B and won a Founders Cup championship this year. Nick Ferris from Western, who plays with Ben Mercy on Western. That's how he wound up in Orangeville. Timeout taken by Brock after they gained possession in the offensive zone. 1:18 to go in the half. I'm Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire, and this is becoming quite a game, as we expected.
Well, yeah, certainly did. I don't know if we expected the way the game started, but now it's 6-5. The Badgers have an opportunity to tie things up before the first half closes, and you can definitely feel the momentum shifting towards the red side. And we've talked about it, Brock. They're a proud team. They like to play with confidence. They like to let you know that they think they're the best. Actually, in one of their chants, they go through every single position and say, who's got the best offense? Brock. Who's got the best defense? And so on and so forth.
Everything. Who's got the best Fogo?
Yeah, they go through it all. And they know, they want to let you know that, they have such a pride in their program. I mean, I talked about it earlier, looking for their 19th Baggataway Cup, which is quite remarkable. I mean, we haven't seen them in the finals in a long time, but they're here, and they're looking to get the job done.
We're having trouble with the wind up here, too.
Yeah.
Papers blowing all around. Just to run down the All-Canadians for these teams. Brock with 4 All-Canadians. Josh and Latrell Harris, both as close D. Adam Kirchmeier, the LSM. Brandon Slade on attack, and a couple of honorable mentions. Parker Bale on D and Curtis Woodland at midfield. And Western, also with 4 All-Canadians. Goalie Manny Najjar, face-off man Jackson Riccozzi, midi Reed Reinhold, and attack Cody Ward. And then on defense, Charlie Dunn is an honorable mention. And one thing Brock has really done a great job of is limiting Cody Ward.
Yeah.
We've barely even noticed him out on the field in this game, and Western's going to want to get him sprung for some open looks.
Yeah. And they elected to go with Josh Harris there, which I thought with Ward's speed, it was interesting, but, I mean, it seems to be working so far.
Josh Harris has been great this weekend.
Yes.
I mean, he's an All-Canadian. It shouldn't be say surprisingly, but Latrell Harris and Parker Bale, both maybe a little quicker than Josh Harris, but he's just so solid and so smart. I mean, obviously he's doing something right out here. Alex Pace with it. Comes back up top to Ribka. We're into the final 45 seconds. Brock obviously setting up for a last shot here. Or are they? Ribka going to the net. Turned aside there by Dunn. "30 seconds. "18 seconds. Ribka directing traffic, and Pace says, no, go down that way. 12 to go. Ham behind the net. 10 seconds. 8 seconds. Now Brock's starting to get a little low on time. Pace goes to the net, shoots off the post. 2 seconds. And it's scooped up there by Michael Byrne, and that will finish the half. Not quite what Brock was looking for, I don't think, from that play, but they got a chance.
Yeah, they did get a chance, and it kind of came out of nothing. And we mentioned it before, sometimes players just have to create their own opportunity. I think they took too long. They didn't initiate until about 9 seconds left on the clock. They had a couple opportunities, but time just started to run out. But I'm sure the Badgers are going to be happy, much happier with that second quarter effort.
We've got a 10-minute break. I'm Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire on behalf of Studio Q. Thanks for being with us here at the Baggataway Cup Championship game. And we will be back with the second half. It should be a great one. Come on back and join us for it. Welcome back, lacrosse friends. It's Baggataway Cup Championship Sunday. Western leads Brock 6-5, but Brock had a 2-0 second quarter and really starting to get some momentum. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm Stephen Stamp with Pat Gregoire. Pleased to be bringing you this tournament from lovely Richardson Stadium here on the Queen's University campus. Can the Badgers maintain their momentum, or is Western going to turn this around after getting to hear from Jeremy Talevi and put in some adjustments at the half?
I think it's going to be a tightly contested game the rest of the way out, more similar to what we saw in the second, but I know Brock came out much earlier than Western, and they're ready to get things going.
Keegan Crowley once again comes up with that loose ball.
And a quick note, Connor Brown back on attack, so we saw him pretty much miss the entire second quarter. We'll see if he can get some offense going.
Ball bounces away from him there, but he's hustling after it. Steps around Rakosi. Austin Haber coming up with it. He's banged out of bounds by Latrell Harris, but flicks it back over his shoulder. Brown comes up with it, though. Looked like Blakely might have a chance for a shot, but he's going to slow things down instead. He did have Moriyama right out on him. Or jumping out on him anyway. They're going to slow it down, and Blakely will wait. Blakely and Ham playing catch. Ham with a couple of big goals in the first half. Comes a dodge from the top by Curtis Woodland. His shot is high and over the net. Western in the white with the purple trim going right to left again on your screen. We are live on Studio Q. There's a chance, give and go, and a finish by Nick Ribka. That's just a beautiful passing play. And again, Cree Blakely getting involved. Oh, sorry, that was actually Tyrus Rahanek.
That's beautiful tic-tac-toe passing. Tyson Rahanek just right in and out of his stick. Nick Ribka, a fourth-year senior for the Badgers, getting in. That's his fifth goal of the playoffs. And once again, we see the midfielders cashing in on opportunities. There's so much points on that attack core led by Slade, but it's the midfielders today that have, and yesterday, that have done a lot of damage.
Rahanek's been fairly quiet this weekend, well, yesterday in the game, but 32 assists on the season. Definitely a great setup, man. He showed you the touch he has there on that short but perfect pass to Ribka. And we have a tie lacrosse game here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us here on a windy but pretty nice Sunday afternoon. I mean, it's about 12 degrees here at Richardson Stadium. There is some wind, but that's not a bad day to play lacrosse. I think actually, for November, I think it's a pretty great day.
We have definitely had worse days in November for the Baggataway Cup. That's for
Hulbert
sure.
going to the net, shoots, scores, 5-hole. And just a little breakdown defensively for Brock, as Hulbert had all kinds of room.
Yeah, once again, it's Western taking advantage of going up against the short sticks on defense. And Jackson Hulbert, he is quite the shifty midfielders there, showing his speed, getting his third goal of these postseason after burning Mackenzie Mitchell. It's a couple of times now Mackenzie Mitchell has been burned from the wing there, and he's one of their top short stick defenders as well.
Oh, there's a battle between Crowley and Harris, two of the best LSMs around. And Brock's going to come up with it as another man who fits that category, Adam Kirchmeier. Comes up with the ground ball. He gets tons of those every game. There's still a battle going on. Parker Bale gets it. Josh Harris indicates it. That was actually interesting, the angle we're on. You could see as Bale passes across to Harris, the water coming off the ball as it was thrown. Can make it a little tricky on passing because there was some fairly heavy rain in the second quarter. And the ground will still be kind of damp. Nice pass by Bale. And then a great little touch pass by Chris Wire to keep the ball moving. Rahanek, actually it's going to come over to Slade. Rahanek was looking right at Kirchmeier, who kind of tossed it over his head. Grayson Houghton slipping into the back door, Now he's noticed by Keegan Crowley, who picks him up. Blakely way up by the 47-yard line. Watched there by Wilkinson.
Great job by Slade to get that pick, and now gets the attack, the short stick D midi.
And Wilkinson's got to be careful how high he goes, and that's exactly why. Now it's odd numbers for Brock. Brandon Slade watched by Crowley, who makes a great recovery, but the pass through, and it's buried. Connor Ham is on fire today.
Connor Ham with the Hattie, the Hartford transfer, making his presence felt here on Championship Sunday. Beautiful feed by Brandon Slade right on the crease, but Ham makes no mistake there, cashing in, tickling twine.
And you just can't be up high, even that far away from the net. If you're Mackenzie Wilkinson, you just can't go that aggressively towards Brandon Slade because it doesn't matter how quick you are, how good your footwork is. His is probably better.
Yeah. He's lucky, though. Crowley did have a really nice slide to recover for him there. Or that could have been even more dangerous. I mean, it eventually led to a goal, but...
Yeah, no, I know what you were saying. It's just kind of funny. I mean, how much more dangerous can it be? They scored.
Well, it wasn't from that exact play.
No, it did. Crowley managed to slow things down a little bit. Reinhold takes it and runs across midfield after Brock ties it up 7-7. Reinhold so critical to this Western team. You know Brock is aware of him. I talked to Tim Louie yesterday before their game, and he said, he voted for Reinhold as a midfielder All-Canadian, even though he didn't have great numbers, because he has had his absolute best against the best teams. He said whenever we play him, he's really, really good. There's a shot by Hulbert. That one's blocked out front. Interesting play. It looks like Simeone thought the ball had been maybe tipped. I mean, it was a shot, so I'm not sure why he was trying to keep it in there since he had position. He pretty much just had to stay where he was and let it roll out. And almost actually made it a dangerous play, because if he touches that and then it goes out as he's chasing it, then it is Brock ball. Nick Ferris, watched closely by Chris Wire. Coming out from behind. Double teamed.
Great slide there by Brock to get that double team and take away the scoring opportunity.
Yeah, and the switch as Kirchmeier stays with Ferris, and now it's going to be Simeone trying to work against the short stick. And that shot, I don't know if that was even possible to put that in from that angle. Although, if you watch Cam Milligan's low-angle challenge video, those were going around a while ago, he put some balls in that are kind of unbelievable that you wouldn't think could go in. So maybe it could have, but the odds were a bit long. I think Milligan's was the best of that genre that I saw. Hulbert turned aside there by Mitchell. I think the Western crew were thinking maybe he got a little bit high up into the face mask. Simeone up to Hulbert. Trail check attempt, gets by it, but that shot saved it, swatted in. It's a goal. It's going to be interesting to see how close the ball was to the crease.
Great initial save by Wood, but the ball just pops right out, and Nick Ferris.
Little snapshot.
Yeah. Risked that one home. Unfortunate bounce for Wood, because that first initial save was huge. But another time there, Mackenzie Mitchell getting burnt by Jackson Hulbert. Hulbert so deadly this afternoon.
We talked about earlier in the game when in the second quarter when Brock's D really started playing well, it was a lot of just man-to-man, not a lot of sliding, just guys taking their own man, but they're going to have to figure out some help if Mitchell can't handle Ferris and the other midfielder, Ferris and Hulbert over there.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can't take Harris or Kirchmeier away from covering Reed Reinhold, because he needs to be covered by an LSM every single shift.
Here comes Latrell Harris with a run. They get it down low. Western, great job of getting back in transition defense to take away the scoring opportunity. They lead by a goal after Ferris swatted that one home. It barely came outside the crease, was bouncing just outside that red line. Very magnanimous of the folks here at Queens to let the Baggataway committee paint the lines on for the restraining lines and the sidelines. This fabulous facility, fabulous stadium. A few things we'd like to tweak, like having a bathroom up here in the press room, in the press level. Brock working around the outside. Ham goes up top, and Alex Pace thought about a shot. He's got Hunt on him. There's Slade, feeds it into Brown. Quick low shot, bounces, scores, and it's even. 8-8. Brown, after taking the second off, has an impact here.
And this is the Connor Brown that everyone knows, the pure goal scorer, catch, release, right before the slide can come. He takes the hit. Seen him score beautiful goals, but we've seen him score gritty ones like that one where he dusts himself off, picks himself back up, and he doesn't care that he got hit because he scored a goal.
He'll happily take that. Brandon Slade comes off for a little bit of a rest. He doesn't get many of those, but what a great pass again by Slade to set that one up. Just the second Brock Badger in this school's illustrious history to reach the 300-point mark in Kufla, joining the legendary Sean Williams. Austin Haber will try and set things up to recover the lead for Western. Brock has tied it a couple times now, but have not yet gotten a lead in this game. Sometimes that can be a big emotional or mental difference in a game if you actually get the lead. And as much the other way if you give up the lead that you've held all game. Simeone has Masterson on the crease. He's covered by Bale and Kirchmeier there. Michael Byrne getting involved in the offense. Takes it back. Cole Davis out near midfield. Trying to run by McKenzie. Or by Mitchell. That shot goes wide, but Masterson will be there to get possession for Western.
Once again, Western electing to attack from the midfield. Try to expose the short stick, D-middies.
That makes so much sense when we've talked about how good Brock's back line is. There's Latrell Harris getting out really high. Retreating back as Michael Byrne runs down towards the stack. Splits off toward the side of it. There's Patrick Gamble. We haven't seen a ton of him this weekend, but he has stepped in and played some important minutes for Western. Now he's going to head off. Or is he? The ball's loose. A race for it, and it's grabbed there by Byrne, so they will complete the change. Gamble comes off. Reed Reinhold's out. The shot by Masterson. Before Reinhold can even get there. He gets there for the celly, though. The Mustangs back on top.
And this all starts with Mike Byrne grabbing the loose ball, fires it east to west, and a top shelf rip.
Well, and you can tell
Thomas Masterson.
Got Wood thinking he was going to the far side and comes back just inside the near post.
Second goal of the game for Masterson, fifth of these postseason. He's having himself a strong cup. He sold that so well.
Austin Haber with the ball off the face-off after Cozy pulled it back through. As I was out at the entrance to the stadium, or I guess the exit to the stadium since we were heading out last night, and there were a bunch of Western players there, and Rakosi, who was with Queens for 4 years, was talking to some family and friends and that there, and he said, I've never beaten them before. I've never beaten McGill. It was fantastic. He was so excited to win that game. Here's Reed Reinhold being watched by Latrell Harris. Stops, starts, goes back up top to Hulbert. Hulbert gets underneath, passes across. It's a little too far for Simeone. Masterson will track it down. He's got lots of time before it goes out. Actually, it was getting pretty close to the sideline, but he got there. Having a battle with Bale. Bale shoves him deep. Masterson gets a step. Bale recovers and pushes him up high, so Masterson has to shoot it up. That was a nice recovery because Masterson was almost in position to get a good shot off there. Bale jumps back out on him. Hulbert, swim move, tosses out to Reinhold. Harris picks him up. There's Nikolai Ferris. Reinhold sells the shot fake, gets it over to Ward, and he is on the board. They've done such a great job of keeping Cody Ward out of this offense, but just that tiny opening, and he takes advantage.
Yeah, and it starts with the rotation, the slide, and that's how he gets freed open. A little bit of a miscue here, and that's where the slide has to come. It's a great initial slide, and you see Harris. It's just a little bit of separation from Harris. He thought he was the slide there. Unfortunately, he isn't supposed to be the guy who slides there. Two guys go, and that frees up, like you said, just enough to get Cody Ward his first goal of the game.
Brock with possession off the faceoff. And a chance right away for Smith, but he's going to get triple teamed and loses the ball. He had Reinhold over on the far side, just couldn't get the ball through to him. I think he'd like another go at that one.
Yeah, for sure.
4:20 to go here in the third quarter. 10-8 Mustangs, their first 2-goal lead in a while since Brock had battled back into contention here. The high pass, Simeone can't handle it, and Latrell Harris comes up with the ball. Wards off Simeone. Not in the illegal warding sense, just battles him away. And here comes Josh Harris. Fakes the pass now. He does get it over to Ham. His shot is blocked. And Harris is going to grab it. Oh, what a play by Josh Harris to flick it up. That was an amazing play with the long pole. We'll see what Brown can do. He is almost knocked to the ground, but gets back up. Loses his stick under the check. And Brown actually will get called for a violation.
Can't play without your stick, and that's just him not playing the field game in a long time. This is his first season since probably minor lacrosse.
And a penalty coming to Brock as Reinhold was trying to back check near center and actually fell over the line into the defensive zone. So Western has some time here to get a shot off, and then if they aren't able to score, they will get a man up here.
.30 seconds for the offside, so Western's going to have a chance to extend their lead here. Like we said, for a long time, it felt like Brock was controlling the game. Well, the momentum certainly has shifted towards the Mustangs right now.
We'll see if they can take advantage of this 30-second, and they do. Reinhold takes a beautiful pass from Masterson. Touch pass as he cuts through. Timing is perfect. 3-goal lead, Western.
That's just perfectly executed by Western, and the ball movement for them, and obviously the cutter as well with Reed Reinhold cutting through the middle. Brock just caught flat-footed. Couldn't really do much there. They just were standing still.
Another face-off win by Western. They will set up possession. A minute and a half to go here in the third quarter. I'm Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire. Thanks for being with us for Studio Q's presentation of the 2017 Baggataway Cup. The wind is picking up. If we get a shot of the goalpost for football behind the net, just at the beginning of the end zone, they are waving about in the wind. All the flags around the stadium are ripping. I think it's probably stronger than it has been at any point in the game. 1 minute to go in the third. Cole Davis taking his time behind the net, watched by Mitchell. Western would appear to be holding for the last shot, as one would expect in this situation. Now they start to drive ahead, and Davis just backs down away from Mitchell, well behind the GLE. Hands it off to Byrne. They've got 24 seconds. They'll probably wait for about another 10 or so before they start to attack the net. Now Chris Wire behind, covering Byrne. And Adam Kirchmeier is just free-floating in the middle. Oh, what a strip by Wire. 6 seconds left. He takes a look at the clock, throws it ahead. Josh Harris. He tries to feed it through. Normally not a great decision, but in that option, in that situation, the only chance he had was to get it to Rehanick for a late shot. Didn't quite work out, but great play by Chris Wire there.
Yeah, good job. Good defense by Wire. Byrne looked like he slipped there, but good awareness for Wire to recognize that there still was some time. Harris comes up, picks up the ball, and fires it all the way down the field. And I think if Rehanick didn't fall there, they might have actually had a chance to maybe get a shot on that.
Yeah, he did slip a little bit. He's coming back to the ball. I mean, that's a tough pass to make. For one thing, it's a long pass. Everyone knows where you have to throw it because the time's running out. Also, as we mentioned, into this wind, it's very strong, and it does, the longer the pass into the wind, the more it's going to affect it. Kind of beats it down, and you saw how low that wound up being. So Rehanick, I think, fell partly because he was trying to go down and get that pass.
Mm-hmm. Just a quarter to go in regulation here. The Brock Badgers going to have to get back to what they were doing in the second half offensively. Wasn't as bad as a quarter as we saw in the first, but definitely got away what was working well for them. A little bit sloppier on the slides once again defensively as well. So,
and again, that's Western adjusting as well. Give
Yep.
them plenty of credit for what they're doing. We said when it was 6-3 after the first quarter that you said the good news for Brock, they couldn't play much worse than that. They were only down by 3. And when you've got 60 minutes and a 3-goal deficit, that's not a big deal. 20 minutes and a 3-goal deficit, bit of a different story.
Yeah.
Brock definitely has the potential to go out and get the 3 goals they need.
no doubt. There's no need to panic if you're the Badgers yet, but you do have to play with a sense of urgency.
Yeah. We've talked during the weekend about the difference between urgency and desperation. Urgency important and good. Desperation can be to the death knell.
Just one quarter left for guaranteed for some of these guys on the field. I know, obviously, Brandon Slade being a fifth-year senior, Connor McGee, Josh Harris, not a senior. It's only his second year in Kufla, but he played 4 years at RIT. He's in grad school. I believe it's Teachers College, so he's done after this year as well. So there are some seniors that will be leaving either empty-handed or as Baggataway champions on both sides of this team.
Yeah, I mean, there always are.
Yeah.
Right? It's always a big game for the seniors. Another extended battle between Rakosi and Smith. Rakosi pulls it back between his legs, and Keegan Crowley, the Adam Kirchmeier of Western, comes up with that ground ball. There are some people that just have a nose for the ball. I mean, Brody Merrill, one of the best all time. It's his birthday today, so if, Brody, if you're watching, seeing some of your Hill graduates playing, happy birthday to one of the all-time greats in the game, indoors and outdoors. But, I mean, Crowley is like that, Kirchmeier's like that, and Crowley's just going to stand there because nobody from Brock has come. A little panic on Najar. Over to Hunt. Nice pass ahead to Dunn. It does skip away from him, and then he kind of runs over it, picks it up, and he's got pressure from Wire. Latrell Harris will come up with the ball. Brock trying to push. Western, so good in transition defense. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but they've got to be one of the best schools, the teams that we see at getting back and taking away your chances.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Brock's very good at it, so they can create something anyway. There's Crowley on Slade. He pops back up, and Haber jumps on him. He still gets the pass away. Brandon Slade, we've talked about the skill, the hard work. There's a shot that goes high over the net. Slade's going to get it back, so he's the first guy back. But there's the grittiness, too. He's tough as they come in terms of taking a pound and continuing to play. and play hard. And the wind has even picked up more now, and the rain coming back. So I don't know that the players that are on the field are noticing a whole lot. Probably pretty chilly for the guys on the sideline, although it's not too cold today. Oh, what a great pass by Slade, and the bouncer home. Twisting shot by Reinhold.
Great patience by Reinhold. He caught the ball and hesitated and then throws that twister. I think he had enough time where he could have shot a little bit earlier, but he wanted to make sure he was getting the right angle on it. Najar has made those unbelievable saves right on the doorstep, but he doesn't make a save there.
Little twister makes it happen. We have a face-off violation on Connor Smith, and Western gets the ball and will try to advance into what's becoming a bit of a hurricane here. And it's really interesting if you can see the goalposts for football, the difference. The posts to our right in the end of the stadium where the wind is coming from versus the ones to the left, they're much more movement on the ones to our left. The wind picks up as it gets in here and is kind of circling through the stadium. So it's much tougher down in Western's end as they're trying to clear the ball now. They'll have to use a short precision passing clear game. There's a shot by Davis, trying to do what he's done so many times. Sorry, by Cole Davis. Masterson has it. Bale trying to strip the ball. Brock down by 2. Want to get it back. Western, we saw this yesterday against McGill, where they maybe settled in a bit too much. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep trying to create things, even as you're taking your time. Cody Ward, watched closely by Harris as he has been all game. And Harris is right back on him as Ward runs to the middle. Now Ward's just pointing. Bounce shot. That one's saved by Wood and will roll out the back. Simeone is there. And one thing, I've talked to Jeremy Talevy about this before, and he says, Cody Ward's a great scorer. He scores a lot of points sometimes when he's not scoring, he's still being effective. He's drawing defensive players away. He's directing traffic. He points out that Ward still contributes, even when he's not putting up tons of points.
I mean, that's what elite players do. They have to find ways to help out. Probably doesn't do as much away from putting points like a guy like Brandon Slade does, but still, he's a leader on the floor, like on the field, like you said, directing traffic. And I mean, when you are drawing a lot of attention, you're giving your teammates an opportunity to make an impact on the field.
And against other teams, that'd be more of an impact because you take Josh Harris out from being able to defend other people. But when you've got Kirchmeier and Bailey and McGee and Latrell Harris, you've got more than enough to make up for it if you're Brock. There's McKenzie on Davis. Stall warning on for Western. They can't throw it back out high. They got to stay down low. Just spinning back. Alert play there by Michael Byrne. He's got Latrell Harris on him. Tosses it over to Ward. Josh Harris again traveling with him. Giving him a bit of a cushion behind the net. Again, Kirchmeier patrolling the area above the crease. When the rest of the Brock defenders head out and pick people up when Western's spreading, Kirchmeier really stays back in the slot to take anyone who's going to try and slip through. Ferris being spied by Wire. He'll hand it off to Reinhold. Takes a bit of a bang for McKenzie. Oh, what a play. Reed Reinhold. Oh, they're going to say crease. He stepped on the line just before he got that shot off, or before it got in the net.
Really close. Don't know.
Very close.
Don't know. Like we said yesterday, the officials have a better angle than us.
So hard to see. We're just watching the live feed, which is a little bit delayed from the action on the field. And it was very close and hard to tell. But I'll tell you, even on the replay that we saw there, it's pretty hard to tell. Western has possession back, though. There's Hulbert. Way up high to Ferris. Ferris switched hands, took a shot righty. Almost got it through Wood, but he did make the save. And then Masterson is stripped. Josh Harris dunks it back over. What presence, and he knew where that was going. Sometimes it's just wild, but you can tell he was getting that towards Brandon Slade. And here comes Latrell Harris running the field. He's going to go to the trail man, Slade. Pretty good decision. Runs by the defender. The pass for Hennig scores. For the second time, we see Wilkinson come too aggressively up on Slade.
And the slide does come to Reinhold, but it's just a little too late as he slips through the D and gets his second goal of the game. We talked about how the Badgers are going to need secondary scoring because Brandon Slade can only do so much, but once again, Slade gets an assist on the play. He starts it all off, and before you can even see in that replay, that little stutter step gets him open and causes the defender to slide and wreak havoc as the Badgers bench comes to life after that goal.
Western with another possession off the face-off. Jackson Riccozzi doing a fantastic job for them. I mean, and you say there's only so much Slade can do, which is true, but it doesn't seem like there's much he can't do.
Yeah.
He has a role in pretty much everything Brock does out there in the offensive zone. Western again taking their time. Keegan Crowley back in his own end. Now Crowley's going to run ahead. And Brock chooses to go for a change, which left that clear wide open for Western. A little surprised that Ham ran off that and made it that easy for them to make that clear. On the other hand, if Western just stands back there, the clock ticks away on Brock. But with one goal, I mean, there's lots of time.
Tons of
11
time.
minutes to go. Hulbert tries to get it through to Simeone. It's tipped.
Simeone ran through the crease as well.
After he jumped up, he got up in the air trying to catch it and landed. His momentum carried him through. Oh, great play by Masterson. Oh, but a super strip. Was that Bale?
Wow.
Was that Bale or
Yeah,
Latrell Harris? Bale. What a play, because Masterson had knocked that ball down, then run ahead was wide open if they could have got it through to him.
Great desperation check there from Parker Bale.
There are moments where desperation is the appropriate
Yes.
emotion. That was one. The appropriate setting, I guess. Masterson shovel pass to Simeone. Patrick Gamble will basically run it over and effect a handoff to Byrne. He runs by, gets the shot off, being trailed by Adam McKinnon, but it was well wide. Heads out the end line. And Western retains possession. We're past the midway point of the fourth quarter. I'm Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire, bringing you the Baggataway Cup 2017 on Studio Q. We thought this would be a great game, and it is turning out to be one. 4 excellent games this week, and only really the Western over Queens was not close. And even then, Queens put up a good, solid battle. Byrne trying to make something happen. Nice job by McKinnon to stay with him. Ball's up at the top. Davis tries to get one through. It's grabbed by Wood. We've got just under 9 minutes to play. Brock in their own end. Be kind to us, Odin. Don't let this win grow anymore before we get this game in. There's Ribka, gets it ahead to Slade. Brock looking to even, and they're going to take a timeout to set it up with 8:33 to go in the fourth quarter. A 1-goal game, and Brock looking for the equalizer.
Looked like Brandon Slade wasn't too pleased with the timeout call there, but I think a part of it was because he actually was caught playing defense there. So it's been a long shift for him, so maybe give him a little bit of a breather because, you know, if Brock's looking for some offense, he's got to be on the field.
Although, have you ever seen Brandon Slade look tired?
No.
I can't say that I have.
No.
It's like the Energizer Bunny just goes and goes and goes.
On that last play there, Cole Davis obviously having a fantastic Baggataway Cup tournament. And he's been basically scoring all his goals from the outside on the run. But I don't know if I like that last shot selection. And not even just the selection, the execution, shooting high to high on the run. That's not the take that you want, and you give an opportunity to Brock to go down the other way. And
well, it is a difficult shot. It's like a quarterback running to one direction and throwing it back against the body, against the grain. It's hard to shoot back accurately back to the other side. Not as bad when you're going as a righty to your right and shooting back across. If you're going to your left and trying to shoot back, that's a tough one. But you throw the high to high, it does just make it so much easier for the goalie to track. If you are on a bit of an awkward angle like that and you change the plane, it can give you a little bit of an edge and, you know, throw things off for him.
oh yeah, you know, the shot on the run away from the net is a great take if you
Yeah.
change your plane and, you know, shoot far side low or, you know, going away, running away, shooting it stick side high. Unless it's an absolute snipe bar and in, most times goalies are going to, you know, gobble that one up pretty easily.
8.5 to go. My apologies if I'm a little bit hoarse today. Bit of a cold I'm battling. It seems to be settling in as we go through this game. So the excitement's going to get us through. What's that?
I said, I'm sure this weather doesn't help.
Oh, no. Ham up top. Ribka keeps it moving. Alex Pace will give it back to Ribka. Brandon Slade pointing down into the corner. They're going to go below GLE. Rehanick on the far side just stepping above GLE now. He's trying to slip into open space. That ball's tipped by Crowley. Goes out. Pace tracks it down. They go behind the net again. Ham takes the pass from Rehanick. He's got more ammo on him. Goes up to Ribka. Ribka watched by Haber. Brock taking their time. There's the ball in the stick of Curtis Woodland. And I was going to say, we haven't seen a lot of him in the offensive zone today. And his pass gets away.
I think Nick Ribka just wasn't expecting that pass. After the pass gets away from him, he just hands on his head. I don't think he was anticipating Woodland to fire that pass over to him.
Clock stopped momentarily by the officials for Western to go and pick up a ball. As there were none on the sideline, they had to get one from the back. .6:45 to go. Manny Najar taking his time. He's got Crowley and Hunt with him. Charlie Dunn's on the far side, but they're going to have Moriyama. Actually, it's Moriyama, not Kroll, on the near side. And he ran into that spot that Crowley so often does. Now he's just going to roll it there for Hulbert to run onto. It's a bit of a daring play, but Hulbert makes it work. Now he dodges down the alley. Oh, great trail check by Mackenzie Mitchell. We've talked about him getting beat a few times in this game, but that was a great recovery to not let it happen again.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you do get beat, you have to have the effort, try to get back into position, or throw a trail check like that. That's a good effort by Mackenzie.
Nick Ferris comes to the near side to Davis. He'll let it fly. He scores again from distance. A 2-goal lead for the Mustangs.
And see, there's that shot on the run. Davis this time executes it perfectly as he changes play, go high to mid-low. And he has been on fire from the outside in this tournament. CD Deuces, as they call him.
You don't see often a guy scoring that many goals from distance in one series of 3 games for a team. Western doesn't mind this extended battle at center. Riccozzi tries to pull it out between his legs again, but it's Crowley who sees that it's on the far side from them and comes up with possession. That is so important with that 2-goal lead and under 5 minutes to go. We will announce our game MVPs after the game. The sponsor for the MVPs is Z2 Sports. Z2 Sports providing apparel for the game MVP winners. There's a guy who's been in contention for that a couple of times, is Austin Haber. We'll also have our tournament MVP named at the end of the game. Haber knocked down, and Western starts screaming for a timeout as Aaron Walker tried to jump over and get possession, but you could hear, again, a slight sense of desperation as Western really wanted that timeout.
Yeah, I have no idea how Austin Haber was able to keep the ball there. He got knocked to the ground and almost got stripped, but held onto the ball long enough where his team could call a timeout. You can feel the energy completely at 2 different ends of the spectrum. Western feeling like they can taste victory, bouncing up and down, and Brock, I don't want to say they look defeated, but
subdued, though.
Subdued, yes. That's the perfect word to describe. I mean, 2 goals in 4 minutes for the Badgers is absolutely nothing. It can be done, but they're going to have to get the ball here and get a stop first. And the way that Western's offense has been rolling, it's been tricky.
And we've talked about the Brock defense and how good they are, but a lot of credit to this Western defense as well, because they're up against some good scorers, and these guys deserve a ton of credit. Guys like Michael Moriyama and Dallas Clancy has had a pretty strong tournament in a very quiet role. Charlie Dunn, of course, very good. Keegan Crowley, Peter Hunt. They're all doing a good job.
I still don't know how Crowley wasn't a honorable mention for.
Yeah.
And Kirchmeier has been great all season long too, but he could contend to be, one of the best LSMs in this league.
Yeah. He could be MVP of this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
So could the guy with the ball right now, Reed Reinhold, especially if he can create another goal here to really give Western some insurance. He's almost taunting with that ball, kind of putting it out in front. Trying to see if Wire will go after it. Rolls the ball behind the net. There's Josh Wood getting involved in the defense. There's a crease call against Western. And I understand that Cole Davis is upset about that call, but he's got to just get back and play his position. And now he's going to go in pressure on Parker Bale. He did get back. Bale, great pass ahead to Josh Harris. Very composed under pressure, as Brock tends to be. And again, another play by Kirchmeier. Drops the pass, but he's so aware of what's around. That's where you have to be aware before the ball gets there, how much time you have. And you can tell he knew he had just enough time to scoop that ball up without panicking. Ribka just keeps tossing it back to Alex Pace. Brock needs 2 goals in 2.5 minutes. It is stop time now in these final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. Connor Ham, watched by Moriyama. He gets the ball across. Hard shot stopped by Manny Najjar.
Just got a piece of it, but that's all he needed to keep it out of the cage.
Woodland on the run with that shot across the body, and that was a nice change of levels, change of play, but still the save by Najjar. Rahanic throws it up. Got checked a little bit there by Hunt, and the pass went astray, but they got it back. Here's Pace. Back to Slade. He's going to try and create something on the run. Down low to Ribka. Shoots. Score. No, it's wide. just off of Najjar. Back up top. Crowley kicks it ahead. Crowley's racing. He and Slade. Crowley, great play to keep Slade
Push
from
on the
getting, but
back.
Slade gets it. A push on the back by Western, and
Yeah.
Brock will get the ball.
Yeah, Reinhold's going to get called on that one there.
Reinhold up in attack position. There's a pass to Rehonic. Ripka rips it, scores! The push in the back turns out to be critical. 1:43 to go. It's a one-goal game. What a rip by Ripka.
Ribka getting absolutely robbed on the play before this, so he gets another opportunity here from his wrong side, and he just torques everything he can into this and beats Najjar. And just like that, 1:43 left. The Badgers are only down by 1 goal, but this face-off battle has been almost completely dominated by Jackson Rakosi. He has been great.
Smith trying to counteract that, and he goes a little bit early, so Western gets the ball. We'll see Josh Wood coming out fairly soon to join in, the goaltender helping out on the defense as necessary. Haber fakes a little shovel pass. Turns aside, Harris strips it, but doesn't realize it's loose, so Haber goes back and gets it. Latrell Harris on him again. The roll pass. It's not picked up. Now, what was that call?
Western called a timeout.
Timeout. They didn't have possession, did they? Brock doesn't
So-
think they did.
The one thing with this, and it's difficult for the officials, is that sometimes when you call timeout, it's the initiation where they want to call timeout, and the official's about to call it, and you don't know when possession actually leaves their stick. So the ref, we can't see what the ref
No.
is initiating right now, but when the whistle was blown, he didn't have possession. But the ref, what he was trying to do
Right.
was his intention of calling that timeout
Yeah.
and blowing it down.
It's a great point. I mean, it's not so much, it isn't when the whistle goes, it's when he decides to make the call.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bang play.
Yeah.
Boy, had they not had possession, had they not been able to get the timeout, a glorious opportunity for Brock to get the ball back. Now Western is going to have to try and hang on to it. Some great pressure by the Badgers, and you know they're going to just keep pushing and pushing. It's been a fantastic Baggataway Cup final. Thank you to our hosts here at Queen's University, Dwayne Parliament, Sean McDonald, and his crew putting on a terrific tournament for us. Caitlin Kosis and her crew from Studio Q have been wonderful to work with.
Oh, yeah.
Really enjoying the work they're doing. Great presentation of these games. I'm Steven Stamp and Pat Gregoire. Great to have you back for another year doing color.
It was great. I love it. It's, Kufla lacrosse. I think it's one of the more underappreciated leagues in all of Canada. It truly is a great game, a great league, and there's some fantastic players out here, and we saw it, and thanks for having me.
Reinhold going to the net. Thought about shooting, pulls it out probably wise. The reverse whip shot is not what you want to bank on
No.
when you need possession with 1:05 to go. My pleasure having you back. Always fun to do it. I'm just glad I can breathe enough to keep going as we near the end. Will Brock be able to force overtime? Masterson has it. Parker Bale out on him. Brandon Slade standing right at the middle line, hoping to do something. Bale falls down. He's got help from Kirchmeier. He's back up. Masterson's in trouble along the line. Flicks it back. It's grabbed by Harris. Brock runs over center. Do they want a timeout or are they going to keep going? They're going to push it for now. Will Harris shoot? He will. Long stick goal. Josh Harris again. What a play by Josh Harris.
Josh Harris, the transfer from RIT, the teacher graduate, putting on a clinic and showing that long poles they can score too. What a huge goal to tie this game up. 31 seconds left. Unbelievable. I almost can't believe it.
You are a bit of a loss for words, right? I mean, Harris running up. What a great pickoff, great pressure, and he was the first one. And again, we talked about how it's a great play down in the offensive zone when he finishes. The bit of a dangle and the great shot from the long pole, but the big play is made at the other end from a little play where he just read what was happening and got out a step ahead of everyone else and used the long stick to be able to catch that pass.
Yeah, it was a perfect read on the pick, and great awareness by him, too, to recognize that the Western defenders weren't going to slide off any other player. They were challenging him to take that shot, and good on him. He placed it perfectly. And, I mean, Josh Harris, he's known as a strong, stay-at-home, steady defender. He does have some offensive upside, but, my God, I didn't know he had that in him.
What a game he is having. We're 31.9 seconds away from overtime if nobody's able to score. To me, Josh Harris is the player of the game for Brock.
Yeah.
I mean, not only for that goal and that he's helped to contribute throughout the game, but for taking Cody Ward out of the game at the other end of the field.
Held him to just
You look
one.
cold, buddy.
I am cold.
It's way warmer than it was yesterday. We're going to have a loose ball push in the back. No, it's a hold. And Western gets it. Latrell Harris is irate. You have to be careful. That's great composure by Damian Roy, not throwing a flag on Latrell Harris, because unless it's pretty egregious, that's not what you want to call it. 17 seconds left. Here comes Hulbert. Shoots wide. Oh. Did one get it, or did it hit the outside of the post? It definitely hit the outside of the post. Western gets it back. Ward has it. 8 seconds left. Harris is on him. Can he stop him one more time? Pushes him out. Ward trying to do something. Harris is all over him. The shot, the save. We're going to overtime. And if there was any question if Josh Harris is the player of the game for Brock, it was just answered the way he defended Cody Ward there.
Yeah, he's had Cody Ward in his back pocket there. Ward able to get the shot off there, and it almost threw Ward it threw Wood off because he was really slow to react there. I don't even know if he took the shot, but luckily for him, he made a big, big save. Latrell Harris still furious about that call, and
yeah. He's got to just calm down.
You have to calm down because he made an error. He pressured Jackson Hulbert so far out, and Hulbert was able to get that scoring opportunity. Latrell Harris is a fantastic athlete, an outstanding lacrosse player, but it's plays like that that reminds you he's still a young player and still has a little bit of maturing to do as a player. A play like that, you don't like him to see him do something like that, but, I mean, he's the type of player he's going to go out next shift and probably dominate a loose ball and run up the floor.
Yeah, he's a great player.
I was just going to say one thing that's great about his game is when he does make a mistake, he bounces back.
Short memory.
Very short memory.
Yeah. We've got 4.5 minutes, 4:20 to go in this break. Then we will play 2 4-minute overtime halves. Each team will have one timeout during that 4-minute period. Each 4-minute period. They will go each direction once. And we will play those full periods regardless of any scoring. It is not sudden death or sudden victory. But if it's tied after that, then we do go to sudden victory. We've got 4 minutes to go. We're going to take a quick break. If you want to talk to me, I'm going to check a couple things with the executive. I'll be back. We can take a break or keep going.
We'll take a break.
Okay. All right, we're back underway. We didn't take as long a break as we thought. We hope you stuck around. They had 5 minutes up on the clock, which I thought seemed kind of long for the break. That went out off a foot. Whose foot? It was Brock's. Went off of McKenzie. Mackenzie Mitchell, and Western will get the ball for the first possession here in the first overtime. Masterson takes it in behind the net. Seems only fitting with the way this game has gone that we have overtime. Hulbert scores far side, bounces it just inside the post. That's a beauty. Western gets the first goal of the extra time.
I feel like I have deja vu. Jackson Hulbert once again from the wing, dodges down the alley, but this time he changes planes and just rips that one off the pipe and in. Wood with absolutely no chance on that one right there.
That's perfect placement. Now, Latrell Harris out to take this face-off. Rakosi pulls it back between his legs, and again, Austin Haber is there. You know, he's not a huge scorer, but talking about an MVP. Oh, Western takes a timeout. Their timeout of this first 4-minute period. The rain is really coming down now. The wind's still whipping. I would argue, I think Reed Reinhold's in consideration for MVP of the tournament for Western if they win. Keegan Crowley, number 4, but I would
100%.
also say Austin Haber should be considered.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I might be a little bit biased as, you know, his coach this past summer, but
Right.
I absolutely love his game. He's a player that you love to have on his on your team. He works so hard, and he's improved on his game. Even since the summer, he said, you know, talking with him before this season started, and he said, you know what, playing box last year really helped my overall game. I really, you know, want to contribute a little more on offense, and he didn't do it quite as much during the regular season, but you know, he's had three goals this tournament, added an assist here today, so I definitely don't disagree with you on that one there.
I'd be pretty happy with any of those three.
Yeah.
Really as the tournament MVP for Western. And for Brock, I would think it's Brandon Slade
Yeah.
if they can win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have to agree. Slade has been the heart and soul of this Brock team this tournament, and the heart and soul of the offense all season long. It would be a really special way to cap off a historic season and a great career for Brandon Slade as well.
You could probably argue he may be the second best player Brock has had, although they've had a lot of great
They
players.
have.
I think Sean Williams is a safe
Yes.
number 1. Oh, what a
Nice pick.
pickoff! Great play there by Chris Wire to come up with that ball.
Beautiful read. Beautiful read.
The pass ahead to Josh Harris. What a game he's having. Gets it.
The hot
forward to
hand,
Kurtzweiler.
Harris.
Yeah. Yeah, give him the ball, let him go up and shoot again. Brock taking their time, setting things up. Again, they've got lots of time. Rahanic over to him and straight back to Rahanic with Hunt on him. Quickly past it. They're moving the ball quickly. Ham watched by Moriyama. Throws it up top to Pace. And a goal! Alex Pace on the run with Reinhold covering, and Najjar just looked fooled by that one. Boy, the rain coming down in sheets now.
And Reinhold just not great defense there, just giving him far too much time and space. And like you said, Najjar looked handcuffed on that one. Strip by Harris.
Oh, he throws it ahead. Rahanic shoots, scores! What a finish by Rahanic and Latrell Harris. That's a huge play to get that possession.
What did I say? Short memory on Latrell Harris. Great job stripping the ball right from the on top of the stick of Jackson Rakosi. Rakosi using his face-off stick there, obviously, so it's stuck on the back of his stick. He can't make a play, so Harris, what does he do? He just strips it right up, as the ball hits the ground, it's almost immediately back up in his stick, and he finds Reinhold, who's wide open on the crease for a goal.
Haber with another possession off the faceoff as Rakosi pulls it away from Latrell Harris. Now, can Brock's D shut down Western for 5:40? There's a lot of time left to go in overtime. Haber's heading off. We're going to hold Davis on O as an O-biddy for Western, along with Reed Reinhold and Nick Ferris over there.
Great job on Tim Louie and his coaching staff, Chris Atwood, to recognize, you know what, Connor Brown not having the best of days, makes an adjustment, throws Reinhold in there, and look what Rahanik's been able to do with this offense.
Yeah, I mean, he's been outstanding. He's been in a lot. I mean, basically going with two righties, right, with Hammond Reinhold instead of the Slade Brown or Slade Davis that they've tried a few times.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot and a goal on the run by Cole Davis. What a play. He has been unbelievable in this game.
He has been unbelievable all tournament long. Once again, on the run. That one, he barely has his hands free to take that shot. Beats Wood, and I mean, boy, he has had Wood's number all afternoon long.
4 goals already in the first 3 minutes of overtime. We're tied 14-14. This is an epic Baggataway Cup championship. And again, Rakosi pulls it out again. Austin Haber comes up with it. Simeone turns back. Chris Weir has been out there. It's almost a little confusing when you watch because sometimes he's got the long pole. A lot of the time he's playing short stick D-midi. But he has had the long pole at times out there. And interestingly, he's just switching up like that. They've got so many good long poles that he's probably just giving somebody a spell now and then. But he is out there as a short stick now, watching Jackson Hulbert. 20 seconds left in the first overtime quarter. First overtime half, I guess we'd call it. 12 seconds to go. Western starts to move. Hulbert's going to try and create on his own. Shoots. Scores. Bounces it through with 2.9 to go. Jackson Hulbert's having himself a game.
Hulbert and Davis have been electric from the midfield, but that one there, no doubt, Josh Wood's going to want back. He got a piece of it, but couldn't keep it out of his net. A great underhand rip nonetheless, but that one
the
just...
low shot actually bounces off of Wood up into the middle part of the net.
Probably could have used a slide there to help out. Because, I mean, we've seen nothing there.
And Jackson Rakosi goes for the field goal in the dying seconds of the first overtime period. That's not going to count. There's 15-14 Mustangs. They'll switch ends and go for another 4 minutes. 5 goals in the 4-minute overtime period.
Wild.
Steven Stamp with Pat Gregoire. This is Studio Q's presentation of the Baggataway Cup 2017 championship game. Got anything you want to talk about during the break?
Yeah, I think Brock really has to recognize that Cole Davis and Jackson Hulbert have been shredding the short stick D-middies. What do you have to do? You've got to start thinking about sliding earlier. You have to try to help them out because they're just having their way with those outside shots. And you know what? Sometimes your goaltender doesn't have the best of afternoons. What do? You have to bail them out because there probably have been times throughout the year where the defense hasn't been playing great and your goalie's picked you up. Start thinking about sliding a little bit earlier. Whether you go adjacent, if you don't want to leave guys like Cody Ward on the crease, if you can't get that secondary slide quick enough, start thinking about going adjacent slide. So you're giving up the pass next to you, but just standing there in your own end, not leaving your man, and just hoping that Wood makes a save isn't clearly working, and that's an adjustment that I would like to see Brock do.
4 more minutes. Western's fired up as they come out of their huddle. They actually took a large tarp out to huddle around during that period just to try and keep everyone as dry as possible. It's not that cold compared to yesterday, but you get the wind and the rain. I mean, we're at least protected from the rain up here. We do have the wind coming in, But it's getting a bit chilly with the rain coming down so hard, with the wind. The temperature's cooling off a bit. We'll see what happens in the final 4 minutes. Latrell Harris again out for the face-off against Jackson Rakosi.
Face-offs and goaltending has been so big for Western this game.
Again, Rakosi pulls it through. This time, it's Keegan Crowley getting it. We talked about Haber as a potential MVP. Keegan Crowley, the LSM, could also be absolutely in that conversation.
No doubt about that. Big fan of his game.
Haber possessing the ball. Wire on him. Western's in no hurry. The ball way up top with Ferris. Mitchell on him. Ferris is basically just going up and down the far wing like a table hockey player. Now he starts to slide in behind the net. Mitchell still with him. No stall yet because Western has got the ball down in the offensive zone and are moving around. Now the stall goes on. We've had a minute and a half tick off in this second overtime 4-minute period. Now Ferris goes to the net and scores! He was just waiting for an opportunity. He scores the goal, celebrates with Reinhold, throws his stick down like a women's lacrosse player about to get stick checked. What a beauty.
Once again, short stick on short stick. Ferris this time going in behind GLE. And just as he crosses, he takes a shot, and Wood once again gets a piece of it, but not enough.
How do you pick the player of the game for Western?
It's tough.
I mean, Jackson Hulbert, Cole Davis, Keegan Crowley, Austin Haber, Nick Ferris. I'd actually say Peter Hunt has been very good for them as well. Maybe not in that discussion for, but I mean.
Yeah, I mean, with the offensive performances that we've seen from
Yeah.
some of those other players, I mean, it's tough.
Haber's watching. Ribka, who just tosses it down low. You see that the water popping out of the stick as Rahonic caught it. They go to Slade, 1:48 to go. He waves Rahonic away. He wants to make something happen himself in isolation against Charlie Dunn. Dunn's an All-Canadian. Big pick. Dunn just blows through it. The pass down low to Rahonic. He's on his knees, can't get it. It's swatted by Mariama. Haber comes up with it, loses it. The strip there by Brandon Slade, of course. It's still loose. Ribka tried to sneak in and grab it. Ball still on the ground. Mariama running over someone. Rakosi. Still a battle. And Western's happy to have that ball go, but it's eventually picked up by Ribka. Crowley on him. Crowley almost tipped that pass. Slade has it. He does not panic. He's got 1 minute to get 2 goals for Brock, along with his teammates. Behind the back pass, doesn't get through. Done all over Curtis
Brown
Woodland. Brown misses the pass. That's going to be Western ball. And that is going to make it very close to a done deal for these Mustangs. Here comes Ham running at Najjar, but he gets it over to Hunt. More pressure coming. The long pole is up the field. Oh, the pass gets away from Reinhold. Nice little pick there by the goalie Wood, so Latrell Harris can pick it up. 25 seconds. Brock needs 2 goals. Parker Bale, little head fake, runs into Reinhold, but gets the pass through to Slade. He runs through the check of Masterson. 13 seconds. Slade is stripped. Crowley can't pick it up. They do get it. Austin Haber whips it. It's going to go out of bounds. Not what he wanted to do, but he doesn't care. There's 2.8 seconds left. It's over. the Western Mustangs have repeated as the Baggataway Cup champions, and Manny Najar will throw the ball up in the air, and then all the gloves, the helmets, the sticks go in yard sale. Western celebrates a fantastic win, 16-14 over the Brock Badgers.
For the first time in program history, the Western Mustangs are back-to-back Baggataway Cup champions. It was mentioned earlier in the broadcast, and I'll say it again. With this coaching staff, Jeremy Talevi, it is so difficult to beat him 3 times.
Yeah.
You give him another opportunity, and what a perfectly executed game plan for this deadly Brock Badgers team, and you've got to feel for these guys. A perfect season ruined in the Baggataway finals, looking for elusive number 19 Baggataway Cup, and the drought continues for the Badgers.
And an interesting point, talking to Tim Murdoch yesterday before his semifinal with the McGill against this Western team, he said they've 3 times gone to championships games undefeated, and he said he doesn't really like it. He actually kind of likes when you've lost a game during the year because it just puts more pressure on. It kind of has you feeling a certain way. If things aren't going your way in the game, maybe you haven't had the adversity to adjust to it. He said they're 1-2 in those games, and they found it difficult at times. Western does the same thing to Brock. Brock was hoping, as we mentioned, the last time they did go undefeated in 2009, they won the Baggataway. Not this time. A crushing defeat for them. Great coaching staff of Tim Louie, Jordan Sharon, Matt Atwood, Justin Pitchell, Mitch Hannigan, and Nico Baudouin doing a terrific job. And all the players, Brandon Slade finishing his career with over 300 points. What an impressive and amazing career he has had. And Brock waiting for Western to come up to the 50-yard line for the awards to be presented post-game. And Tim Louie is just calling his men in.
Western with their 5th Baggataway Cup championship, so tying Guelph for the second most with 5. It's been, before last year in 2016 in St. Catharines, it was since 2001.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we've seen back-to-back champions since Guelph did it in 2013 and 2014.
And Western was celebrating, kind of hanging out a little bit long, maybe. You can see Jeremy Talevi. Now, Jeremy Talevi, he's got a temper. He's a fiery competitor. He has done some things. We saw a few years ago at McGill when he kind of lost his stuff after a loss to Queens. And he has had his moments of letting that get the best of him. But he is such a respectful and professional man as well. I think he went to his team. They were still celebrating. He said, guys, we're going to the 50. We're not waiting to making them wait any longer. I have so much respect for Jeremy Talevi. And I said, a lot of people in the game who have dealt with him, have played against him, would say, you can get a good hate on for Jeremy Talevi as any intense coach.
You can hate him, but you have to respect him.
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for Jeremy Talevi. And I will say also, as a member of the media, writing for Inside Lacrosse as we do and covering games, he is so professional and always very gracious and generous with his time. He'll make it clear, I can do it here or here. I can't do it here because I'm doing things for my team. But he makes time, whether win or lose, he is always there to talk to you.
You mentioned about how he doesn't want Brock to have to wait a while. He knows how this feels. 2015 and 2012, losing in the Baggataway Cup finals to McGill, both times actually. So he knows the feeling of losing does not nearly feel as good as it does right now, winning their first back-to-back Canadian National Championship.
We have sent our suggestions for tournament MVP down to the rest of the executive. I am on the executive of Kufla. And Dave Fennick, the commissioner, is now sending someone over to Brock to say, hey, come on, guys, let's come up to the line. Western using the moment to take some championship pictures. And they've got some family members who are making their way. It's kind of a long way to go around and get down to the field from the stands. There's no stairways down to the field. So they have some family members taking the trip around to celebrate with them. And now the teams will shake hands. And then we'll have the presentations. MVP of the tournament, to your mind? We've talked about, guys, who do you settle on?
This is really tough. There have been some great performances from a lot of these Mustangs. I think Reed Reinhold would be a pretty solid choice if you're looking for an offensive player. But for me, I think consistently from start to finish, I would either go with Kevin Crowley, who's a beast on LSM, or Austin Haber as well, a defensive midfielder, which is quite rare to have a tournament MVP come from a D-midi. But I think Crowley, it would have to be my pick.
Yeah, I think I'd go with Keegan Crowley as well, although Reed Reinhold, now one thing, Reinhold wasn't here Friday, so, you can factor that in if you like. He was away for a very good reason, and he was determined to get here, and he made the trip, so I'm not holding it against him, but, Crowley was fantastic Friday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think Keegan Crowley was probably the most consistent player from start to finish as, being most valuable. Obviously, Reed Reinhold had a huge semifinal where he was, I wouldn't say he definitely wasn't shut down here today by any stretch of the imagination. He just wasn't as dominant, where I think every single game we saw Crowley out on the field, he was dominant. I think any three of those selections, though, you can be
I'm not
going to
argue about any of the three.
No.
To my mind, Brandon Slade was the guy for Brock.
For sure.
If they'd won. Player of the game for Brock, I've got Josh Harris.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yes. You know what? This has got to sting, obviously, for all those graduating players, but it stings for the coaching staff because, boy, there's a lot of holes that have to be filled. A lot of really impact players are leaving. This was the year for Brock to win.
Yeah.
That defensive core, you're losing Bale, you're losing McGee, you're losing Harris. Latrell Harris, he does have eligibility to come back, obviously being a freshman. And there are a lot of young, talented players on the Badgers, but a lot of talents leaving St. Catharines at the end of this school year.
Yeah, both teams will be strong again next year. I really like Guelph and the core they've got next year with a lot of young players. Alex Simons and his cohort. And, McGill, 28 underclassmen, 16 freshmen, 12 sophomores. We're going to go with the Press Player of the Game awards. Reed Reinhold gets Player of the Game for Western. And he will go over and accept that. Again, Z2 is the Player of the Game sponsor, or Player MVP sponsors from Brock. Josh Harris, absolutely, no question. He was phenomenal. Picking off passes, playing great D, taking Cody Ward out of the game, scoring, everything.
Yeah, he did absolutely everything to try to make sure that his Brock Badgers come home with a championship, but unfortunately for him and the Badgers, it wasn't quite enough.
Again, those awards presented by Z2 Sports, our game MVP sponsors. And Keegan Crowley, the MVP of the 2017 Baggataway Cup. Great choice.
Yeah, I totally agree. He was outstanding from start to finish in this tournament, and such a impact player, a game changer. When you have a guy that just dominates on loose balls, and let's not forget, his one-on-one defense is impeccable as well.
Oh, it really is. Ryan McMichael chimed in on Twitter. I think I didn't see it. I just saw it now, saying that's a good goal and you know it. Mentioning us both. I think it was the Reed Reinhold play. And McMichael saying 19 for MVP. He wanted Reed Reinhold, and I don't disagree strongly, but I do like Crowley as a pick as well.
Yeah, I think you could have gone either way.
Yeah. Like we said, we wouldn't have been disappointed with either. The banner is presented, and now the Baggataway Cup itself. David Fennicky, the commissioner, hands it off to the captain's group. Tom Masterson, the first man to loft it up. They all join in. We just want to thank Studio Q once again for the great job, Caitlin Kostas and her crew. Really enjoyed working with you. And Pat Gregoire, always a pleasure to have you alongside. And look out, we will be doing a tournament, all tournament team on Inside Lacrosse, as we did last year. We'll collaborate on that. We'll get it posted on Inside Lacrosse. Look there for all the best of KUFLA coverage, and go to kufla.ca for coverage as well of the league. And final thoughts on this tournament.
It was an unbelievable tournament. So much talent out on the floor. the field. I mean, the fact that we saw close games from start to finish, only one game not really being that close when Western played Queens, but it still was a competitive game.
Yeah.
It just shows how quality Kufla lacrosse is. And, I mean, the venue here, just from the first day rolling up here, seeing the venue, I knew it was going to be a great week or a great weekend. And Queens, can't thank them enough for putting on an outstanding tournament. And for the second time in 2 years, Western's bringing the cup home to London.
Thanks for watching, everyone. That will wrap it up for Studio Q's coverage of the 2017 Baggataway Cup. What a tournament. I'm Steven Stamp on behalf of everyone here. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you next time.